curious, stick insect angular. He went over to an old metal funnel attached to a wooden workbench, poured in some coffee beans, and began to slowly turn a handle. Grind, grind, grind. It's the story of my life. With a variety of expensive biscuits now also arrayed before me, I was soon thanking the couple for their surprising hospitality. Cave asked me why it should be so unexpected. An evasive answer seemed tactically unwise, so I mentioned the Prince of Darkness thing around him and his reputation for treating journalists poorly. "Who says that?" he asked, a little surly. "Why, the NME, New Musical Express," I began to say, in reference to the influential British music paper of the day. "The NME," he barked. Cave began to grind the coffee beans with much greater intensity. His partner looked at me and said, "Don't get him started." To Cave she called out in a calming voice, "Now, Nick." Cave ground on, taking it out on the beans. "The NME." Finally he came back over to us, with a large silver coffee pot steaming with his efforts. A set of fine china cups were ready on a matching silver serving tray. Mid-pour, Cave lost focus, the coffee slowly streaming out of the spout and around, but not into, the cups in an ever-widening circle, the tray filling with black liquid as if it were a swimming pool, until he snapped back into consciousness and finally found the cups as well. Completing the task at last, Cave then asked me with all the decorum he could muster, "Would you like milk or sugar with that?" The next 2.5 hours felt rather like an interview taking place under similarly dark water. Each question seemed to demand huge reservoirs of concentration from Cave, not to mention frequent pauses and micro-sleeps. Cave's sometimes thin and creaky, sometimes sonorous and self-consciously refined speaking voice certainly had its hypnotic qualities. I felt suspended, unsure of what to do, or even how to leave. To be honest, I'm not sure the encounter ever quite ended, so much as faded away. With everyone heavily relaxed, I departed once more through the floor. It was yet another Cave interview in which I felt I had somehow failed, despite Cave's very best efforts to help me. This was largely because I didn't really understand how to write up what had happened. I also dreaded sitting down and transcribing the interview tapes, a process that would demand even greater leagues of passing time from me all over again. 2 nights later, on stage at the Mandolin Cinema in Sydney's Surrey Hills, Cave would recite from sections of his work in progress, while an ambient soundtrack rose and fell with suitably ominous and dreamlike effect around his reading voice. Looking every inch the Black Crow King, one of the many self-referential character songs that would add to his mythology, despite the satirical swipes it took at his image and those who subscribed to it, Cave did not so much walk onto the stage as dangle, stoop, and hang in the air as if from unseen strings. He would eventually fall off the stage, and yet the cinema was full to the brim with his fans, a sellout performance over 2 nights, and a success in terms of the mood created by him reading from what appeared to be a credible, black-humoured Faulknerian work of fiction well on the way to completion. In 1994, 6 years after these readings and our warehouse encounter, the boot would be on the other foot, when I once again spoke to Cave, this time over the phone. He'd been living in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and by all public accounts at least, was as clean as a whistle. For me it was an early morning interview. Very early. Unfortunately, I'd broken up with my girlfriend the previous night and not been home, to sleep or otherwise, barely brushing in the door to take Cave's call. Thank God I'd prepared the previous day. When Cave asked me how I was, I told him at great length, that I'd been out wandering all night, that I'd been here and there, felt this and thought that, a long, wild, emotional ramble that ended with me saying I loved his new record, Let Love In, and finally asking if he had a favourite walk he liked to take in Sao Paulo. Cave took this all in with a long pause and a slight grunt, and we began to talk. It was a great interview, and I liked him a lot. He seemed completely non-judgmental about my condition. In fact, I'd say he was both courteous and curiously amused throughout. As for his answer to my opening question, well, I make my favourite walk daily, which is up to my local bar. Out the door, up the street, past the junkyard where the chickens and the old junkyard dog sits, and up a steep hill to my favourite bar, San Pedro's. There's this giant barman there who is the fattest guy.
To keep listening to this audiobook for free, click the link in the description. It will take you to a free Audible trial where you can listen to this and many other books for free for 30 days.